You're listening to Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast. Brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technologically advanced silhouette decoy on the market. First Light, the best hunting gear on the planet. Go farther, stay longer. And Ducklander Calls, tradition, education, and quality. Built to hunt.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Union 0430, episode 155. Hey, it's been a couple weeks since I've been on. I was in Newfoundland on vacation. Dave had the helm, had the conch, done a wicked awesome show with Sean Weaver. So now I'm back. I got Bobby. We were supposed to do this Friday night, and I'm still not smart enough to figure out Wi-Fi and all that stuff. So we had to postpone it until today. Philly jumped on, and Philly was, that was the other thing, Bobby, when I messaged you and told you, hey, Friday we can't do it tonight because I can't connect. Like, I didn't let Philly know. So like 20 minutes later, Philly messaged me, like, are we still fucking doing this or what? And I was like, oh shit, sorry, buddy. I messaged Bobby and I told Bobby we weren't, and I totally forgot to tell you we weren't. So
I was at my trailer trying to get connected. I was going to have a cigar. I was like long overdue for a podcast cigar, and I was like, I had everything set up, had an ashtray going, trying to do goddamn like I'm about as techy as fucking Damien is, and like I'm like, dude, like I'm trying to get on, like what's going on? And Damien's like, oh no, sorry, we're not doing it. And I'm like,
so you're telling me I wasted a third of this cigar on waiting for you to figure out the hotel Wi-Fi, and you couldn't even send me a message to say we ain't doing it.
Yeah,
tight.
Yeah, pretty much. So anyway, but I was really hoping that
we're hunters. We're hunters.
Yeah. But I was trying to do it because if I could have pulled it off while we were down there was a lot of people around, and I could have got a bunch of people to jump in and edit a show, and we could have had a really, really funny show, and everybody had a couple pints into them by that point too. So it would have been an entertaining show. But this, now we got Kyle. And Kyle's he's driving the paint like he's going hard.
No, we're going hard in the paint. Y'all got basketball in Canada?
Yeah,
I don't play basketball.
No, we got basketball, but it is not my forte. I can tell you that.
One of your kids plays basketball, doesn't he?
No, just.
Which one was it?
No, just.
I knew you had one.
No, that's playing soccer and
soccer. Okay, I remember you were telling me one of them did a sport you knew nothing about.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. I know a little bit about soccer, but now my son is absolutely infatuated with football, right? So like every day he comes to me.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about right
football?
Now. Yeah,
like NFL.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
not soccer.
Yeah, okay. Not kickball. So he comes to me every day now, and he's like, Dad, guess what? And I'm like, I don't know what, buddy. And he's like, the Arizona Cardinals just drafted this guy. I have no idea why they drafted this guy, because they don't need him. They need this position. I'm like, buddy, I'm still following hockey. No, I'm still following hockey, buddy. I have no idea. I have
that's
no
Canadian man pile there.
Yeah. Big time. But I did want to say, I wanted to kick this off. I told Bobby and Kyle about this, Philly, but I've realized something this past week, and I was at the Grimsby DU show this week and set up a booth and everything, and I can't drink anymore. I got about 5 pints into me Saturday night, and I was like, that's it, I'm done. I just couldn't do it anymore. So, and then everybody's like giving me grief over because I went to bed early and everything, and I'm like, every fucking one of you is 15 years younger than I am.
Just tell them when they grow up, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think so. But
you think about eating cheese and you're already blocked up for a week, so just they'll figure it out.
Yeah, this is true. Bobby, it's good that you brought Kyle on and stuff tonight, and it is really good because you've got some really, I want to say, some exciting stuff coming, and I sort of know a little bit about some of the stuff that's coming, but this was a surprise this evening when you told me that Kyle is going to start doing a podcast with you. And which is awesome. And I think it's a great thing because, and I've told you a million times, you have so much to bring. And if people are just willing to take some time to listen, they'll actually learn a ton of shit listening to you. And I don't know how
Maybe.
I don't know how educational Kyle's going to be. Is Kyle's just here for comic relief, or is Kyle like is he like a duck guru too?
Kyle's pretty good at duck hunting, but Kyle is more for the lightheartedness of the situation. Yeah. So I've got a podcast that I've been putting out, and that's just kind of whenever I got something on my mind or I want to share something, I put it out.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of structure to it. So I've been telling everybody it's an audio video of my Instagram feed is all my podcast is.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's all it is. But I am not very good at being silly. So I thought it might be a good idea to add a little humor into the brand. So that's where Kyle comes in with this. So we've got one started. It's actually going to be called just the Ducklander Clubhouse. And we have a lot of mutual friends because Kyle and I have been hanging out for a long time.
Yeah.
So
12, 13 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So we hunt a lot together. We've just been hanging out a long time. So we have a lot of mutual friends in the hunting industry.
Yeah.
So they're going to come on and Kyle's going to talk about whatever with them. I don't know if it'll even be waterfowl related.
No.
Yeah.
But
just
that's
be
good.
whatever. Yeah. Just whatever it is.
It's going to be kind of geared towards that. The conversations you have whenever you're in between flights of birds, or you're setting everything up, or you're sitting back eating breakfast after you're done hunting or before you go hunt or what have you. That's what we're going to be.
Yeah.
Just kind of bringing some, shining some light on that side of the spectrum. I talked to a few buddies that hunt a lot, whether they're involved in the industry from, pro staff situation or working for different brands or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those guys, and I think Bobby will attest to this too, that everybody gets so focused on if you're not wearing this camo pattern, you can't kill a duck, or if you're not blowing this call or whatever. It's just going to be a community thing to actually show what it's truthfully about. But you're talking about, Damien, the show you're at the other night. I mean, that's what we experience. I mean, for the past decade of running shows with Bobby, it's not, this is better than that. Behind the scenes or even at the shows, it's just a bunch of buddies getting together, hanging out, shooting the bull. So just kind of bringing the lighter side of that.
I was talking to one of the fellas over a beer last evening, and so they didn't have a very good showing at the show this weekend, right? Like there wasn't a lot of people showed up. A bunch of the vendors backed out like 2-3 days before the show. So they were a little bit disappointed in the way that the show went and stuff. And was talking to a fella, and this fella works at the bank. So he's a banker. He said he deals with a lot of like very, very wealthy people that are all in the same business. They're all fighting for the same dollars. And he said they're very competitive, very, very competitive. He said, but when it comes to shows, so like, I don't know, like building shows or whatever fucking kind of construction shows there are, he was like, these guys all hang out together. They all hang out together. They travel together. They do everything together, but they are very competitive when it comes to getting the jobs and doing the jobs and succeeding at their work, right? But then, you look at this waterfowl world, and Bobby, we've talked about this a million times, you and I. I don't know why we can't get along better. And Carl, you're talking about it, right? Like you see it at these shows when you're hanging out at the shows and stuff. You see that there's always somebody that doesn't want to come hang out and play with you, right? You got a good group of dudes that'll come around and hang out and be silly and have a laugh and stuff like that. But then there's always a couple that just, they don't want to hang out with you because they're just too competitive or whatever. And I think that's one of the biggest things we've got to get over in this
those guys
community.
typically aren't around that long.
No,
but-
true.
Man, good lord. A lot of these guys, like I'm at shows with, I think next year, I'm pretty sure next year is my 20th year. I mean, I've been to shows with these guys
Yeah.
since 2004, since 2007.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been around each other a lot. So I don't know. I would think for the most part, I don't know if most consumers know that most everybody is friends
Yeah.
just behind the scenes. Yeah.
And and what I found when I started this, and Phil, you can jump in on this, but what I found starting this podcast, not only are you friends, but talk like regularly. You may not
yeah.
see one another regularly.
Yeah, everybody talks pretty regular.
Oh yeah, but you might not see like face-to-face
Yeah, nope.
conversations, but talk. You talk
Yeah,
very regularly to people all over the country.
very much. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know if Bob talked about the North Dakota trip last year, but the area we decided to go to was a similar area that one of my best friends up there hunts in. And we talk 5 or 6 days a week, whether it's about golf or hunting coming up or why is the sky blue or what have you.
Yep.
And I mean, I talked to him on the way down here because I learned ironically today that Bob said, "Hey, we're doing a podcast with the Punisher guys." I said, "Okay, let's do it, whatever."
Yep.
So you guys are breaking my podcast virginity, so thank you for that.
Yes.
So but that's one of the things that him and I talked about quite a bit was just everybody has a common goal within the hunting, whether it's deer, big game, upland, waterfowl, what have you. But sharing ideas and not being so quiet about it. I mean, you're short from sending somebody a pin of the exact tree or field you're sitting in.
Mm-hmm.
Man, there's a bigger picture with that and helping people be more efficient at hunting.
Yeah.
I can tell you, if you look at it on social, outfitters are much more controversial with each other than waterfowl companies are.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I mean, hell, like on my regular podcast, I probably have 4 other call companies scheduled to come on before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Guys
And
I'm
I
friends
remember
with.
I
Yeah.
remember when you approached us about sponsoring this one, you outright told us, listen, I don't care if you have other call companies on, like bring them on.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing you got to remember about an outdoor show is, especially if it's waterfowl related, the more brands that are there, the more people will come.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better if everybody is there. You don't really want to be at a show by yourself. It doesn't
No.
work out.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. No,
Yeah.
100% right.
So no, everybody gets lost. So this podcast Kyle's going to do his community and just shooting the shit.
That's good. And I think everybody that I talk to regarding mine, and by no means do I think that this show is the best, but I think that's what people want to hear. They just want to hear honest to God talk, just as if you were sitting in the blind with somebody or driving the back roads scouting. You know what I mean? That's the conversations people want to hear.
Well, I mean, we had Rogers Waterfowl weekend was 2
2 weeks
yeah,
ago.
about 2 weeks ago. It was kind of fun to sit back and listen. Went back to the hotel after the show, and you got Sean Stahl sitting there.
Mhm.
Big Jimbo sitting there, which congratulations to him being
Yes,
inducted to the hunting
Hall
what is it, the
Hall of
hunting
Fame?
Hall of Fame?
I don't know. Something
Yeah.
Hall of Fame. Yeah.
It's the hunting
It-
Hall of Fame.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Big Jim sitting there, and you got Tim from Lucky Ducks hanging out. Ricky was from Lucky Duck was hanging out. Just Brooks Richard was sitting there. Everybody's just sitting there, just shooting the breeze, having fun. And I'm like, this is
That's
kind of
awesome.
the real world of it.
Yeah.
You know, you got your brands you got to push, which you got to be respectful of that. But at the end of the day, we're all just a bunch of fools walking around when it's 20 below and trying to shoot a duck without everything freezing up and breaking. So it's like, whatever, right?
I can tell you, in my world at least, there's never a time I go to a show and I'm like, oh god, that guy's going to be there. Like I don't
No.
have that. Yeah,
No.
that's not part of my world.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Philly. You look like you got looked like you
He's
got
still mad over that cigar.
I was gonna say like
I'll
the
hear about that.
dog
don't worry.
world. The dog world's no better. Like
No, is it? See, I'm not in that
Like-
world, right?
so, I used to run HRC hunt tests. So HRC hunt tests, you're competing against a test. You're not like field trials is like first, second, third, where it's me against you. Where hunt tests, it's you're competing against a set of standards. Everyone wants everyone to win, rooting and whatnot.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, that's
that was
the
the main
pass
reason
fail
why.
thing, right?
Yeah, like that was the main reason why I got into running the hunt test. It was most realistic, and everyone's rooting for everybody. It's an amazing time. And I was at a hunt test last year, and there was this we'll call him a dog trainer at best, and like walked around like his shit don't stink, and he was crushing like started tests. So a started test in HRC world is you got to do about like a 40 to 50 yard mark this way, a single. Dog goes, gets it, comes back, and then has to do it again like in a 90-degree angle the opposite way. So you got to do that on land and then on water. And I couldn't remember how many started tests he passed that weekend. Again, like it's testing for dummies, for lack of a better term. And it was
Right.
just like, yeah, like it was all just look at me. I'm like, bro, you like you go to the States in the winter and you're someone's fucking bird boy
Yeah.
that you're quote unquote mentoring under when you go down there. Like, pump the brakes, sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, well, yeah, just some people like just think they're all high and mighty. Like at the end of the day, like we all want to win here. Like I don't know what you're trying to prove, thinking you're king of the castle and like. But
Yeah,
whatever.
this
That's my
may come
rant.
as a shock to you guys, but I'm Bobby's bird dog because my nose is further from the water, depending what spot of water we're hunting on. So
By about a foot. Yeah.
By about a foot. I
By
got.
about a foot.
Is that something because that's something that we try to do on our show, Carl? Is that something you're going to try and do when you do it? Is try and I don't want to use the word teach because I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence or anything like that. But are you going to try and bring up the etiquette and the I don't want to say rules, but sort of kind of the gentleman's rules to being a waterfowler? And like, are you going to try and educate people on some of those things? Or yeah, go for it. Sorry.
no, you're good. That would be, I mean, that in a perfect world, yeah, advocate for that, advocate for how we all get along. It's not about, oh, you got two guys, I got two guys, and we're trying to go to the same spot on some public spot of water. I'm not trying to compete for anybody. I'm getting too old to wake up at midnight to go stand on a hole for 5, 6, 7 hours.
Yeah.
For the group, like, you got two, I got two. Cool. Well, what do you need? Let's just go do it.
Yeah.
Kind of advocate for that, and there's going to be some stories of people not taking that too kindly and how things tend to happen sometimes. Like, it's just going to be anything and everything, but it's not going to be just directly hunting related. Just kind of life. I mean, it's going to bounce around. I mean, I'm a big golfer. I was actually golfing today before it got too hot, which I about died, which is fine. Talking about hunting or what the hobbies guys do outside of hunting season, because there's only a certain amount of time we have to do this. So just anything life related. I mean, whatever topic comes up, that when I say riding in the truck scouting to while we're hunting to absolutely dogging somebody because they couldn't shoot a bird at 10 yards or 15 yards or what have you, it's going to be all that and sharing different experiences and just going to take it from there and see what happens.
Do you know what a hockey sock is, Kyle?
I know what a hockey haircut is.
I know what a hockey stick is.
So a hockey sock is, I don't know. It's like,
is that where you put a bar of soap and you beat shit out of somebody with it?
No. Well, you could, but it covers your shin pads. Anyways, it's a big sock, right? And one of our sayings up here is it's big enough that, like, we're going to have enough topics that it would fill a hockey sock. And I think that's what you're talking about right there. It's
100%.
It's going to be a little bit of everything, right? And it's enough to fill a hockey sock.
That sock is actually just normal for me. I'm a big guy, so we call those anklets where I'm at, or no show socks or whatever. But so,
Ankle warmers.
I'm telling you, bud.
I believe you.
But no, I mean, just little stuff like that. Like, I mean, funny chabs. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know a single person in this world that can't go to a show or go to a public draw or be over at a buddy's house and 5 other buddies from a different friend group are there, and you can leave with 5 new best friends.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the company I like to keep.
Well, I hope you're around in December when I make my trip down to Kansas. So
He will be.
You're coming?
yeah.
I have not given Kyle the hunting itinerary for the season yet.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think my itinerary is very broad. I was like, when should I come? And he's like, December. And I was
Oh,
like, all right.
100%.
Yep.
Because we're gonna. Well, so I listened to your all's podcast when Micah was on. I think it was right about a year ago, almost to the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah,
Probably.
and-
And
close.
so we're gonna dry hole you one day. We're gonna give you a taste one day, and then we'll go shoot them one day. So you're gonna get the full gamut. But I'm gonna force Bobby to do this in a way like you get the treatment that I usually get, and that's like, hey, just grab a snack out of the cupboard and you're fine. Like you're not getting the steaks that Micah does or
Oh.
the nice sleeping. Like there's a casting couch right here you're probably gonna sleep on.
Oh, well, as
It's
long as
clean.
that's all
It's
that's
clean.
happening. As long
It's
as that's
clean.
all that's happening on the casting couch,
It's
that's it.
clean.
There's one couch and one recliner in the shop.
That's awesome.
Which is a
So-
far cry from what the old shop was.
Brown leather and black leather.
That's
Very
awesome.
fancy. Yeah.
So, Bobby, talk to us about, because let's say maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks, you've really pushed out the tribe now, right? New website.
I did. So everybody knows I'm not the largest YouTube fan on the planet.
Yep.
It's not my favorite place in the world.
Not my thing.
It's not. But I do a lot of education, especially calling and all that. So I felt it would be at best I felt the best home for it would be on my website.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of it. So I went ahead and I did a whole new website. It's linked off of our main site, and it is the ducklandertribe.com. So it has educational videos on calling, on ducks, geese, specs, beginner up to advanced. It has hunt tips. It has gear reviews. It has got all kinds of stuff on it. So that is my educational side of the website. Is that right there? And there's more stuff that'll go on there. It's free. Down the road, we may have a subscription based for more
In-depth.
maybe one-on-one calling
Yep.
instruction. Yeah. And maybe we're gonna shoot some high quality video content this year at hunts. So I don't know how that's gonna go up on there yet, but it'll go up on there in some form. But
I thought I heard you say one time, a sure way to ruin a hunt is to bring a camera out.
oh, it is. Oh, it absolutely is. You're not hunting when that camera's there. You're filming. It's different. Yeah. So absolutely. Yes. But yeah, so yeah, if anybody needs calling help, instructional on, like, I've got a video on there how I pattern a shotgun.
Yeah,
Just
and
all kinds of
actually,
stuff like
is that the same one that you done last year?
Yeah,
Or did
some
you
of it.
redo a new
No,
one?
so all of the calling instructional is new content,
Okay.
because my gosh, that video calling instructional I have on YouTube, that stuff's got to be 10, 12.
Have you? Hey,
It's
You
all-
Kyle?
were not gray. You were not
No,
gray.
I had
No,
no gray
but
hair.
did you see like the hair down to
Yeah, I
the
had
shoulders and
longer
stuff?
hair.
Oh,
Yeah,
buddy,
That's
no.
what the hockey flow?
Yeah,
that's a flow. That's a flow.
Yeah, we
Yes.
call that Tuesday down here for him.
yeah. But so all of the calling instructional is all new content. So like some of the other stuff, like the shotgun patterning videos, that's the same thing. It's on YouTube. It's just my biggest
Mhm.
problem I had is I would have customers write and say, "Hey, do you have this?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's all over the place. It's on
Yeah.
social and it's on," but they can't find it, which is
Right.
my fault because I don't rank high enough on YouTube. So
Well, and the other thing is because, well, you and I were talking about this last week, right? And as we're talking, I just went on YouTube and I typed in Ducklander calls and it just popped up. And
know.
that's the thing with YouTube, is that you have to be so specific, right? Like if you
Yep.
just say how to blow a duck call, well, you're going to get 8 million videos from, and some of them are great. I'm not saying
Yes.
that. It's just you need to be very specific in your search with YouTube, right?
Yes. So you got to be very specific, or I have to work extremely hard to get the videos ranked high enough they pop up first for everybody.
Right.
That's probably something worth a lot of my attention, but that's not really how we sell calls. So it's not a top priority for me. I would rather have people frequent the website than frequent YouTube.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but no, it's gone good. We had a lot of people on it when I launched it. I haven't looked at the numbers. Like I said, it's not really. If you get on it, if you'll notice, there is no product on that website. It is just instructional and educational videos.
Mhm.
That's all it's for. You got to go back to the main site to shop calls.
I remember hearing you say one time that, and I don't exactly, so I'm paraphrasing because I don't know exactly how you said it, but you had said, if I could make a duck caller just a little bit better, then you're happy. That's all you ever really want to do, right?
Well, so yes. So there's a lot of controversy right now on whether or not we should have new hunters. But the thing about waterfowl hunting is we have the largest base of young hunters of any of the hunting sports.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, so we have a lot of younger hunters, and they don't necessarily have somebody at home that is teaching them. So they're learning off of the computer.
Yeah.
Which isn't always the best thing per se, because it depends on what information they're getting off of YouTube, because that's the main search engine.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've always tried to do with calling instructional is they won't stay hunting if they don't have success. Like everybody's got to kill something to keep going. So most of the time they just need to be a little better, and then they have enough of the season is good enough, they'll keep buying a license.
Right.
Which I think they need to do.
Yep.
Yeah. So yes, just a little bit of help goes a long ways on keeping somebody hunting. And I don't know, like I would say if I have to hunt around people, I would rather they were good at it than not good at it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So I would rather hunt around a bunch of people that are better at it than a bunch of people that are not. So
Yep.
I'm happy to help. Yeah.
No, I like it. It's a good point. I read this the other day, and Phil, you probably seen it, so I may screw it up. So correct me if I'm wrong. But they come out. So Ducks Unlimited just announced or just released their population numbers and everything. And
the numbers survey.
Yeah, like everything is down except green wing teal and pintail.
Yep. Yeah, I think
Did you get pintail this year, by the way?
Nope.
I think mallards are down 17% over long term.
Yeah,
I think is what it said.
I
skimmed it. I
17 or 18.
Yeah, I didn't look at it super hard.
Out of that whole list, there's like three species that are up.
Yeah. Now
that's it.
I would say the list is not surprising with the drought we've had in the North Country for the last 2 or 3 years.
Well, I was talking to my buddy Daryl Gilbert. He runs an outfit in Saskatchewan, and where his house, because I was talking about coming out and doing some hunting. He said, well, you could come to the house and just use the house and hunt here. He said, but we're on like a 20-year drought right now, or the worst drought in 20 years, I should say. He was like, there is not a bit of water anywhere. There is no birds around whatsoever around where his house is.
Well, even because I was in Saskatchewan last October.
Yeah.
And obviously like completely foreign to me, the first time ever being there, but we're out driving the roads, and there what would have been an acre or 2 acre sized pond is bone dry.
So
and
I
like
don't
even
get
some of the bigger stuff, they could see how much the water levels were down.
I don't get too excited over this because it needs to do that. When everything dries up, the predators also lose numbers.
Right.
So it's just kind of how it
balances
balances.
it. Yeah.
It balances itself out. So typically, though, after the big drought and you get water back when they nest, you get a huge boom for a couple years because they get to nest without heavy predation.
Right.
So, yeah, which would have been, I believe, the early '90s numbers. Was
Mhm.
after the '80s drought, and the numbers went crazy for a while. So I would assume the same thing will happen. So I don't get too excited over this.
Fuck, Bobby's
here's
so
another hot take.
smart, eh?
I'm not smart as much as I've been around for a while.
He's just
Yeah.
old and
He's
wise.
Yeah, I was talking to Micah the other day on the phone. I added it up. I think I've been killing waterfowl now for almost 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'd be like super hard at it since '96.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's so more experienced than smart.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
I've been
So-
chasing them for 30 years, not necessarily hunting them.
I started hunting them pretty hard at 18. I had a little spell when I was 16 or 17. I thought I was going to really be a big game guy, and that didn't work out.
Yeah. You fell out of a tree, bumped your
Yeah,
head, and then you smarten up. Yeah.
I went on a bear hunt, and it was in a mountain, and I was like, yeah, this is okay. It's just not as good as a mallard.
No.
No.
I like
The
it
thing
when I
with
can
big
sit
game
there
is
and they
like
can come to me.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Bill?
Yeah, the thing with big game is like you're one and done.
That's right.
It just doesn't. I know it's not an everyday thing.
Yeah.
And I don't make enough cash that I could go play big game every day across the country.
Yeah.
That's
can you imagine?
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'll be honest, like the thing, I've shot quite a few deer in my life. It does absolutely nothing for me. I don't get excited over it. I don't get nervous about it. It is no different to me than if my neighbor said, go out and kill a beef. It doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never shot a deer, and I've only ever sat in a stand one time, and I was like, this is not for me at all.
I could see why people like it. It just doesn't get me
Yeah.
going. If
Well,
I was going to be a deer hunter, I would bow hunt. That would be, I think I would
just-
like that a lot more.
I just can't sit still and be quiet for that long. Like, that's my deal.
I used to deer hunt a lot out of a duck blind because I could duck hunt while I was deer hunting.
Whoa. I
Yeah.
don't even think we're allowed to do that, are we, Philly?
Why not?
I don't think we're allowed to do that.
If
Oh,
you
wait.
were
No,
if you were to deer hunt and duck hunt out of the same line at the same time, you could only have one loaded gun,
that's right.
and you would have to be shooting copper solids
Yeah.
out of
Really?
your deer
Yeah.
gun because you cannot possess
Slugs.
toxic shot
Yeah.
while waterfowling.
I would just
So-
prop the rifle up in the corner of the blind and they'd walk the
Yeah,
levee.
no.
Yeah.
No,
That's a paddling up here.
Huh.
Yeah, you'd have to be shooting like copper solids either out of a slug gun or a
So you
rifle.
can't take two shotguns when you hunt.
You can.
You can, but only
But if
one
you're
of them
gonna be
can
duck
be
hunting-
loaded.
Yeah, you can only have one loaded gun.
I'll be darned.
And if you're caught duck hunting and you have, even if you have slugs in your blind bag, that's
Right.
a big no. Like, that's serious.
Because
I
it's
can
lead.
see that because
Yeah.
that's a shotgun ammo, so you could
Yeah.
technically
Well,
be
You can have slugs, but they'd have to be like
These-
copper solids.
right.
Okay.
Well, now let me preface this. I was pretty young and
can't-
I don't know the technical rules where I was doing.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Like if you're duck hunting, you can't have any lead shot. in your
Right.
possession.
So what you're telling me
like-
is T shot does not stand for teal,
No.
right?
No,
shit.
and it doesn't stand for tungsten either, Kyle.
All right.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of guys that deer hunt
Our
or duck hunt
R
while
doesn't-
deer hunt while they duck hunt.
R doesn't stand for radio.
Listen,
Fair. Fair.
do you guys have an early teal season?
Yeah.
Is that
How many wood ducks died during that season?
Oh my gosh, man.
Ducks or
Oh,
off ducks?
A lot of woodies die. And
Yeah.
Oh,
for the vastly uneducated, a lot of hen pintails go down too.
And shovelers.
Yeah.
really?
Oh yeah.
Nobody cares about shovelers.
Hey, I'd like. I'd
Look,
like
that's a pretty duck.
I know
Late
one
season, I don't care what
organization
anybody
that cares
says.
a lot about shovelers.
Shovelers,
I-
the real greenhead.
yeah,
That's right.
Hollywood.
But no,
baby.
there's a lot of woodies that get smacked during teal season. Yeah.
So,
Camera
for what-
right there.
Yeah.
Two things real quick.
And I don't know how, because you can't I don't know how you can't tell them apart.
Yeah, one moves at Mach fucking 10.
I know.
Yeah.
And the other one has a mohawk.
Yeah, and one is fairly large and
Yeah.
one is not and flies in a group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
sounds
know.
like a jet.
Yeah, I've seen Woody's fly in a group of like fucking
I know, but-
3,
Yeah, but yeah,
not 30.
right.
We had a good woody shoot down there in central Missouri about 5-6 years ago, standing
Yeah.
on the streets. That was pretty cool.
During regular season.
Yes,
Yes.
legal.
Yeah.
It was like the second day or the third day.
Yeah.
It was like either the second day or the second weekend opener. We're scouting and let's go shoot woodies.
Yeah.
And we stood in trees. I think there's 4 or 5 of us. We got our 3 and
But yes, we have an early teal, starts
Yep.
in the middle of September.
I'm a little bit jealous whenever I hear about early teal season.
it's
I don't do it anymore.
No,
we were
No.
talking about it being hot.
no, I just
Well,
I
no, that's what I'm saying. Like, put those waders on, be 85 before it's 8:30, 9 o'clock, and you're
yeah, I
walking out.
guess.
I used
Right.
to do it every year. It's fun. I don't go do it anymore.
No.
That one I lost my appetite for.
There is not enough gold bond on this earth for me to go do that again with waders. on.
Shower in a bottle.
I pretty much stay shooting doves in September. Instead
Now, see,
of
I've
the,
never
teal.
done a dove hunt.
Dove's
ever.
pretty legit.
Yeah, I
yes.
got buddies that love it. I've
Especially
never
when you
done
put
it.
the spinners out, they decoy pretty well. And what gets
Really?
even better, they will land right on a spinner.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's a duck spinner, a dove spin, doesn't matter. Yeah,
As long as it's
Uh,
moving.
yeah,
As
as long as it's moving.
moving.
They got that ADHD, bud. They're like, oh, friends.
Yeah, they will come in and just light right to the spinner like a little duck. Yeah,
Ooh.
and then if you get extra lucky, you can find a dove and a pigeon field, and that's even better because there's no limit on the pigeon.
And
So what's the
there's-
same up here?
yeah,
But yeah,
Shoot them all.
and then
mow them down.
in
bud.
Kansas, we have a Eurasian dove that is an invasive, so you can shoot all the Eurasian dove you want.
Oh,
You can shoot them anytime, just like pigeons.
that's awesome.
So nope, I would rather shoot the dove during September than the teal.
it's
Kyle,
funny. Like some
go.
guys get right horny over teal season. I'm like,
Oh, they do.
it's
all
half a
for
duck.
it. They can shoot all of them they want.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
sit in
I'm
the
like-
truck in the AC and watch them with binoculars. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like it's half a duck. I've got zero interest in shooting teal.
Oh, I
Now,
love.
I do
oh,
Because
like
it's,
going-
half a duck.
I
Oh,
do like going to
love
scout them,
shoot- Oh yeah, buddy.
like just because it's fun. It's fun to watch them do their deal. But
I would rather shoot green wings in December than shoot the blue wings early. So
I love I love hunting teal. I do. I love shooting them. I love eating them. And I love on a quiet morning when you don't even know there's anything around, and then 30 of them buzz you, and you think that a fucking rocket ship just took off.
well, you are in for something when you get down here in December.
well,
buddy.
the other thing when
I
you
do,
shoot
I love it.
when you shoot teal out and it's 90 degrees, it's only about 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's the end of the deal.
Well, I remember talking to Jeff Coates, and he at one time he used to go down and do that Texas teal down with
Mhm.
with those guys down there, and that's what he said. He was like, "You're down there for however long you're down there, but 10, 15 minutes. That's it. That's
Yeah,
all.
that's it.
That's all you're shooting. Rest of the
Yep.
time you're back at the camp, right?" And I'm like,
Yep.
"Oh, that's pretty good too."
Drinking Crown Royal.
Yeah,
It's just a lot of work to go shoot for 10 or 15 minutes.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So, like I said, when I was younger, I did it about every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So-
I wanted to rewind something real quick. So
Yeah.
we're talking about the duck numbers being down. Now this is a bit of a hot take. This is the little devil's advocate that I play.
Yeah.
Do you think that population is down because less birds are heading back north because we're starting to see a lot more resident birds even down here?
No.
Something to think about.
Well, I don't think it got anything to do with like the numbers that DU come out with. And I
because
don't
they just
know.
do the prairie pothole, don't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Well, they're
this,
no,
this number.
they're doing the Canada survey too, aren't they?
Yeah, well, this number was the Canada and
Yeah,
the,
that's what I
and the
thought.
US pothole
Yeah.
region, right?
Yeah.
So, but I do think so. For me in my area, the last 2 years have been, in my opinion, have been horrible on ducks. And we don't really see any ducks until November and December, and that's when we see those fat mallards coming in, those fat mallards and those fat blacks that
Right.
that come down, right? But one time opening morning, I would shoot my limit of blue wing teal and green wing teal. Now I don't even see them. Like I never shot a teal last year, and I don't think I shot a mallard until like mid-October to late October.
I
Like,
don't think we were heavy on teal down here last year. I don't think teal was a big. The year before it was,
The year before
but
it
I don't
was,
think we had a lot of.
not last year, the 2 years before that, they were pretty thick. But like last year, it was
We didn't have a lot of teal, and we did not have a lot of widgeon.
the opener. That's it.
Yeah, that's right.
It was the opener, and then
We-
we got like a little cold snap, and they were
Yeah,
gone.
we had a week where we had a lot of teal.
Yeah.
When we opened, and then
We
we didn't have
shot-
widgeon last year either.
we shot a ton of wood duck last year, like a ton.
Right.
More wood duck than I've ever shot ever.
You must have had a good local nest of them. Yeah.
must have been. But we
I
shot
am-
a lot of wood duck.
I am still of the opinion that agriculture has changed enough that they don't need to migrate as hard as they used to.
Yeah.
But basically because there's corn in Canada now
Yeah, and you guys are
and
No
no-till farming.
yeah.
Yeah, the no-till I think is what changed things more than anything.
The biggest thing for us is Lake Ontario doesn't freeze,
Yeah.
Well, that's yeah.
so they've got
and,
water.
and we still haven't had a winter of snow.
No.
So I'm not a global warming guy. I just don't. I don't think we know enough to say anything about the weather. They can't even get next week right.
No, I agree with you there, but like I keep hearing stories the last 2-3 years of I call them wonky birds because it's birds that we would never see, and now all of a sudden we're seeing them, and you know, and I'm not a global warming guy either, but something got to be going on that the flight patterns are changing or something.
I think we're just in a natural warm spell,
Yeah,
a natural mild winter spell.
I hope
think
so.
that's what you got
I
going
hope
on.
so.
Well, like, cause I mean, last year was right after we sent Donnie home. We hit -10 or 15 for 3, 4, 5 days.
Yeah, and it was foggy.
Yeah, and it pushed a lot of stuff south. But
The one
It kind
thing,
of split.
yeah,
You know, like you got. up
I don't
here,
think it got that cold on you guys.
because Iowa was hammering mallards, so was
Yeah.
Nebraska, and then through here, like you had your pockets, and then that's when Oklahoma and Texas was getting hot.
Yeah, I'm trying
And
to.
then Arkansas started.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think there was a cold snap that kind of went across the country. Like I said, we hit negative. We made a foot of ice or better, which is rare for us.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then most of our ducks left during that, and then all the geese stayed. So damn things will stay. They don't care how cold it gets.
No.
And then
So-
we ended
so
up picking
for-
up ducks again in January, but they probably came back south.
Philly.
So
from
for our
the south.
Canadian people listening, -10 Fahrenheit, -23 Celsius.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's balls
You guys
fucking
knew that.
cold.
Oh no,
that's
it got
that's
cold,
cold.
and it sustained that. I can't remember 3 days or 4 days. It was a while. Like it was, yeah, because if you get, we usually hit 0 here for 3 or 4 days for a high around New Year's. Like that's pretty normal. New Year's is
Okay.
always cold, but for us to hit a negative number,
Yeah.
that's rare. Yeah.
Really, eh?
I'm talking not wind chill, like the actual.
Yeah,
wind chill.
yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, I think we were -15 last year one night with the high of like 0. But we did that for 3 or 4 days. And when it does that, it ices everything fast.
I was
Yeah,
in
instantly.
And it takes a long time for that to thaw.
I was in so this would have been 2015, I would have been in Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri. And I'm
Mhm.
staying at a
Yeah.
hotel, and so I'm staying at a hotel. So I go out for a cigarette at night, and this is mid-October, early November, I would think, somewhere around that time. And I go out for a smoke, and I'm just wearing shorts and a hoodie,
Yeah.
and because it really wasn't that cold. It was chilly. It was the fall of the
Right.
year, but it wasn't cold. And there were some people, they were looking at me, they're like, "Where are you from that you're just wearing?"
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm from Canada." And they're like, "Oh, okay, that makes a
Yeah.
little bit more sense that this doesn't bother you." But I
Oh
can remember.
shit, bud.
Oh yeah, buds. Nothing to it, buds. Fuck, that's what I was going to. Philly, you may have witnessed it. I've never witnessed it, but I've heard Bobby say that this reverse migration witchcraft that happens, because I've never experienced reverse migration. Have
See,
you
I
seen it?
don't. Go ahead, Phil.
Because I don't think
it's
we
hard
get
to
it.
say.
We don't. It doesn't
Like,
need to, because there's so much warm water discharges
Well,
around
I
here
would
that the
assume you
birds.
guys are a
Yeah,
flyover
like
state.
here's
Yeah.
my issue. Like where I hunt in my area, Bobby. So like I'm literally half hour, 45 minutes to the east of Toronto. And obviously, like Toronto and what we call the GTA, Greater Toronto Area, everything's on the north shore of Lake Ontario. And just to the east of Toronto is Pickering, which is like literally the next town. Pickering has a nuke plant with a warm water discharge into Lake Ontario. And another 20 minutes, 25 minutes down the highway to the east again is another nuke plant
Mhm.
with a warm water discharge into Lake Ontario. So again, like Lake Ontario doesn't freeze. It wouldn't
Right.
even matter if the nuke plants weren't there.
Right.
Lake Ontario ain't gonna freeze.
Right.
Now this whole area that I hunt, your agriculture, from Toronto, from the literally where the water touches land, heading north, the further east you go, the shorter the distance those birds have to go from water to food.
Sure.
So we got pissed tons of birds. Them cocksuckers, they've never migrated a goddamn day in their life.
Yeah, I would
Them
assume they winter there the whole
fuckers
time.
don't go nowhere.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't think so.
So it's hard for me to relate, like, on the river migration to, like, warming trends and birds starting to push back north. But I don't doubt for a second that it happens, and there is a correlation. Again, like, as birds head south, they follow the snow line. That
But
snow is
100%.
on. That
But
snow
that's
is
for
on their
geese,
tail
though,
feathers.
right, Phil? Like that.
All
You're not.
waterfowl.
Yeah, you think so?
Well, exception of teal.
Yeah,
The second it dips below 70 for the southern folk, they go.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah, like they go. But for all the common folk waterfowl, like your mallards and your geese and stuff, like, that snow is on their tail feathers, pushing themselves.
100%.
And obviously, again, through
As long as it's deep
um,
enough, they can't eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, an inch of snow
But now, obviously,
doesn't
through-
change anything, but 6 inch, 8
Oh,
inches,
God, no.
that changes things. 10 inches, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when it gets
now-
cold and the snowpack turns to an ice cap.
Mm-hmm.
That's when things,
and
yeah.
because you'll see tons of birds go into snow-covered fields. They'll go out there and they'll lay down for an hour
Mm-hmm.
and try to melt a hole to
Yep.
feed. Now, I think through the course of, like, evolution and imprinting, like, these birds have, like, obviously the birds, at least in my area where I hunt, they've learned I don't have to fly to Mexico.
Right.
I can fly, an hour south. I've got water 24/7.
Yeah.
There's all this agriculture to the east of Toronto, and then kind of
What
to the
is-
northeast a little bit.
What is the ag? What is it?
Corn,
Barley, is
beans,
it
wheat.
corn, beans, wheat. So this is my guess, but I'm not a biologist, so I have absolutely no proof of this, other than I live in a rural farming community, and I see farming practice because I help these guys. So I would guess that 30, 40 years ago, one, they didn't grow corn and beans around you. There was a different ag product.
Well, think about it. It was knee high by the 4th of July by then, and now you're 7 foot tall stalks of tasseling by 4th of July.
Well, so now there's short season corn, which they've got 90-day corn, 60-day corn, right? Your yields aren't the same, but they can grow corn.
Mm-hmm.
But the big difference is no-till farming. So I would assume that 30 or 40 years ago, those guys up there, I don't know, if you're curious, ask them. I'd love to know what they tell you. They would plant, and then right when they harvested, they would turn that field over. So they would turn that field black every year.
Oh, I've got
Yeah.
one farmer in particular, legit. He'd
Does he
almost
still turn the dirt?
He almost, well, like our no-till is like next to non-existent around here. There's a
Okay, so they
handful of people
still
that do it.
no-till. That's crazy.
Um,
Because do most everything anymore is no-till.
Yeah, like we've one of my buddies that I hunt with, the property that it's one of his properties, and we've hunted together, and he's actually, this property is neighbors to the property that I hunt. He's the only no-till farmer that I know. Like, I'm sure there's others out there, but like
No-till offers some big advantages to waterfowl, like huge. Food. Yeah, that's right.
Food.
Because now it's a little different when you get up north, because those guys up there will actually take, I don't know the name of it. It's not a disc, but they break the surface a little bit because you guys don't have, it's so dry and cold.
Like a harrow.
Yeah, it won't, the organic matter doesn't break down like ours. So our guys don't have to touch it. So like our standard rotation is corn, bean, wheat, right?
Yeah.
So they go through, so say they harvest that corn, they're going to go through right after they harvest it, and they're going to plant wheat or rye. Most guys plant wheat right now because of Ukraine, because wheat's high.
Yeah.
But they'll put ryegrass down or wheat, and then they will if it's wheat, they'll harvest it in the spring. If it's rye, they just spray it and turn it brown. And then they go directly through with the planter, and they put the next run of crop in, and the ground never gets broke.
Wow.
So any waste grain that hits the field is never covered up. So it doesn't matter if it gets to -20, because they can always pick the kernel.
Yeah.
But if they turn that field black and the dirt freezes, they can't dig the field with their beak anymore. They can't eat. Now they still do that. Like if you get down on like the Missouri River bottoms or any place where there's deep black soil, they'll turn that dirt. But like we just don't have enough topsoil to turn the dirt. So our guys want to put as much nutrient in it from the top down. And they grow the cover crop because it breaks the ground up and lets it retain water longer, lets the water penetrate further into the field.
Yep.
So
like like one of my farmers here, and I've been hunting his properties 15, 16, 17 years now. Like he legit almost follows the combine with a disc.
Dude, that's how everybody used to do
I'm like, dude, like just let it sit 2 weeks.
Nope. Nope.
Let's
They
say
want
2
it
weeks. Come on.
immediately.
No, if they can work it, they're going to do it.
And Damien, this is the field that you and Mark came to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he legit will follow the combine with the disc. I'm like, just come on, just let's sit for 2 weeks. Like,
Well, he's wanting to get that mixed in because he doesn't have a lot of time for that organic matter to break down because you're dry and you're cold.
Well, one of the other big farming operations that I hunt, and like I've been hunting these guys even longer. Like they'll cut a field, and it'll be a month before they get back to disking it.
Right.
Yeah.
But like I would just guess if you asked them what year did they start planting corn, and it hasn't been that long.
It would be
It's
20
been
plus.
10. Has it been 20 now?
It'd be 20 plus.
Right. So that would be around 2000, roughly. So I would bet most of if you look up like the higher push numbers on the migration would have been 80s, 90s. You guys would have had much different grain structure up there.
Yeah, I got to take your word for it, buddy, because this.
But I mean, I guess I don't know anything about the ag. That would just be my guess. If you'd ask them, if you ask them what their primary crop was in the 80s, it would be completely different than what it is now.
Yeah.
And my God, these guys grow. They don't waste a lot anymore.
No, the machines are built. Like the machines that they're using now, there's not a lot of waste at all.
Not a lot.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
Well, like the one farmer, I think it would be the field that. I don't know if it was the farmer that you went to, Mark, or sorry, you went to, Damien. But like one of my farmers, like when they're doing corn, when that husk, like when they get all those kernels off, the stuff coming out the back is just like friggin' confetti.
Oh yeah. Now Do
So
they
trying to run a layout blind
Yep.
and grass that up. Good luck.
So now is it silage corn up there on you, or is
No.
it okay?
No, it's all.
I just couldn't imagine
it's all
because you're
current.
not a big beef area, are you?
There's some, but I
Like
wouldn't
a couple
call it.
beef farms,
yeah, but
there
not
was some
right.
people that cut silage and sell.
Okay.
I don't hunt any silage because just it's not what my farmers do.
Right.
But I have hunted silage through other buddies and stuff.
Now, is there grain production up there for a specific industry? Like, are they growing barley for beer? Are they doing any of that?
I have no idea.
I've had this conversation actually a couple times with my one farmer. Like, what do you do? Like, where's your corn go?
Yeah, no.
Is it making
Is
popcorn?
it making well, a lot of that stuff goes to make Doritos and shit.
I think a lot of theirs goes
Because
to like ethanol.
they use field corn for Doritos. I mean, it's just corn. Yeah, that's not
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think
What?
my guys, a lot of their stuff goes towards like ethanol.
Yeah.
So Bobby, last year, and sorry, I got to jump in here, but last year, Bobby, you were talking about how the current administration down in the States, they had made a bunch of new moves and trying to get everybody to go fucking electric and all this stuff.
Oh,
right?
they're doing all kinds of silly shit right
They're
now.
trying.
My God, they banned light bulbs the other day. Light bulb. Yeah, the incandescent light bulb is going to save the planet. Right.
Oh god.
If everybody just had LEDs, the world's going to be better. Right. Yeah.
The world will be better with less
But
liberals.
I remember you telling me last year, Bobby, like there was no corn. Like there was no corn being.
Well, so if you look at a map of Kansas from the state line and about, I'd say, an hour and 40 minutes west of the east state line, it's fairly wet. But if you get west of us, it's bad. It's still bad. It's drought. Yeah, the
Wow.
cattle prices right now are through the roof because everybody from us up to Montana down to Texas, they all sold cattle because they didn't have enough grass last year to feed them.
Wow.
So yeah, and it's still dry. But yeah, no. And then part of the shortage on corn last year was fertilizer prices went through the roof and Roundup prices went through the roof.
Right.
And you can't grow anything without glyphosate, and you can't grow anything without fertilizer. But I mean, I think last year I'd have to ask my neighbor to be sure, but I'm pretty sure fertilizer tripled.
Wow.
Yeah. So and it's all that stuff's made out of natural gas. So
It was a staggering amount. I remember when you told me I about fell over.
yeah, so when natural gas goes up, fertilizer goes through there. Now that's somewhat balanced off, but so yeah, so no, there was not a lot. There was far less corn last year and much more wheat than we've
Okay.
ever had. Yeah. Now this year the corn I would say is kind of getting back to regular.
Okay.
Yeah. But west of us it's still drier than hell. Yeah,
Really,
like
yeah.
I don't think Cheyenne Bottoms has any water in it right now. I think it's still completely dry. Now I could be wrong, there could be a little, but I think it's still completely dry.
How was your summer bit? Because our last month, Philly, like the last 3 weeks to a month, like we've gotten all of our rain now. Like we didn't
Oh
have
Jesus,
any.
it rained every other.
Yeah, like
rained every other
we had
fucking
no
day.
rain June, July. Zero.
We have had just enough rain on our side of Kansas to keep crops growing, but it's been hotter than shit this year.
Wow.
Like we hit 100 again on Friday, or Saturday, Friday or Saturday, and we have the entire week is 100 plus this week. Like it was legit 123 with the heat index today.
Well, and a week
What's
ago
that
today,
in
we got.
Celsius?
Ridiculous.
Oh, yeah,
That's
we're
50
there.
38.
degrees.
Yeah, ridiculous. But the
Yeah.
actual temp today, I think, was 101 or 104. But we've got that. We've been above 100 a lot this year. Like,
That's
it's hot.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a hot one.
So about a week ago today, we got about 4.5 inches of rain up at my parents' house,
Yeah.
which would be about 11.5 centimeters for y'all.
Yeah. Well, we're good with inches. We just can't do the temperature.
But
No,
yeah,
fair.
like our ponds are pretty low, and
Well-
we've had more water than out west has.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
and to be fair, we got that in about 7 hours, maybe.
Yeah, it wasn't very much. But like I said, we've had just enough rain at just about the right times for the crop. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is what's most important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like they put corn in and the corn was looking fairly poor. And then I think we got a little inch. So like it probably was enough for the corn to make.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about what we've had, but it's not wet by any means. So
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of river bottoms, my guys over there, they were cutting silage all this week
yeah,
in the river bottoms where they got a lot of that
yeah,
half a foot of rain.
yeah, I can see that.
Because
So
it dried out fast enough.
Yeah.
now back to the reverse migration. So Kansas is a wintering state. So when we pick up birds, a lot of times our birds are here for the winter.
Okay.
Now, when we get too cold, because the chances of Kansas getting snow that would stay on the ground for longer than 3 days is very low.
Okay.
We can get 10 inches of snow and 3 days later, it's mostly gone.
Yep.
So if we get -10, 0, our birds will bump down to Oklahoma, Texas, but when it warms back up, they just come right back.
Really?
Yeah, they don't stay there.
They'll follow the freeze line up like they
Yeah.
did down.
Yeah.
Just falls snow.
Yeah, they just
That's
bounce. But
awesome.
you're only talking, they might be making a 60-mile flight between us and them. It's not very
Oh,
far.
really? Oh, it's nothing.
Yeah, it's not. No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I
like
thought-
they can just be gone that afternoon, and like the next couple days you might not have anything, and then it's been 0, and then you'll get a warm spell. Like we can go from 0 to 48 to 60 degrees in 5 days. Yeah, like you can literally be 20 degrees or 10 degrees on a Friday, and by the next Friday it's 68 degrees during the winter. And the birds will just all come right back.
Crazy.
Yeah.
We're getting close on here. I wanted to ask you this. Next year, that I think it's DU, right? The DU Duck Expo, the one that they just done in
Yeah.
Stuttgart.
Delta.
It's Delta. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, there's 2 right now. DUX, not to be confused with the YouTube thing, but DUX.
Yeah.
That's the big Ducks Unlimited event.
Yeah.
And that was in Fort Worth, Texas. And then
No,
there's a
at
Delta.
the racetrack, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever motor speedway.
Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was a Delta Waterfowl Expo that was in Little Rock.
That's right. Next
Yeah.
year, the Delta one is going to be in Baton Rouge.
Yes. They're moving. I think it moves every 3 years is what they're doing with it. Which
Oh,
what
is that
they,
right?
That's what they should be doing with it. Yeah. In my opinion, I think it keeps the shows fresher when they
Well, and
rotate.
then isn't DUX going to Nashville?
I think the DUX show is going to Nashville, Tennessee. I think that
really?
was, I think
Isn't that
was
where
its-
NWTF is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
want to go to the Delta Duck Expo next
You
year.
picked
That's
the
why-
furthest possible place you could go.
Really?
Right.
Yeah, Louisiana. You can't go much further south from as far north as you are.
That would be a culture shock for you, buddy.
Yeah. I think
It
think
can't be
we'll
any
be-
worse. Can't be any
If,
worse than what I
uh,
saw in the Boot Hill back in January.
No.
Well, and it's probably no worse than going back to Newfoundland either. So
Yeah.
holy
So
shit.
we will be at the Delta one next year
Well, yeah.
in Louisiana. Yeah, we're gonna go to that one.
Oh, I'm going, dude.
If I can get a booth space, we're gonna go to that one.
Yeah.
And then if they move the Ducks Expo to Nashville, I probably will go to that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
me can't
So-
do too.
I'm
Yeah.
going to take Bobby Honky Tonkin.
Yeah.
He won't go.
No, not that.
Why not?
I don't know. It's just not my idea.
Tell you what,
It's
when
not
I do
my
a
thing.
show, I talk the entire day at a show.
Right.
I mean, it's endless. So when I'm done with the show, I go back to wherever I'm staying and I make food and go to bed. Yeah,
Right.
I am not a go out after the show type of guy.
I was, but I learned this weekend that I'm no longer.
I
Um,
just, I am whooped after them things.
Yeah.
Like I am dragging. Yeah. But
Boys, we're at close to that 60-minute mark, and I think it's a good spot that we can end this one now. But before we get too crazy, Philly, in case you didn't know, and the entire millions and millions of listeners to the show here, I'd like to give Bobby a very happy birthday, turning the big
Yes.
4-6.
thank you.
Welcome to the club, buddy. It's all downhill from here. And
I made it another year.
yeah, absolutely. So happy birthday, buddy. thanks for coming on. Kyle, it was awesome to see you. We'll do a round table, give you guys a chance to say goodbye and stuff like that. But again, thanks for coming on. And Phil, we've said it for so long. We're really just a bunch of yahoos that get on this show, and we just chat. We're not experts. We'll never pretend to be experts. We're just a bunch of dudes that love hanging out and talking about birds. So with that, Philly, last words to you, buddy.
Well, we're not experts. That's why we have all these awesome guests come on the show.
Very true.
Just to make us look good. Because half the time we don't know what we're doing.
100%.
Yeah. Again, always a good time having you on, Bobby. Again, happy birthday. I was trying to wish you a happy birthday on your Facebook page the other day, but you have nixed the commenting, so I couldn't post publicly.
what a grumpy old fucker. He already told me today that he went and he set up some anyways, I'm not even getting into it. What a grumpy old fucker he is.
Don't
That's
open that. Don't open that box, bud. Be another hour.
But Kyle, good seeing you again. Like I said, I remember your face from years gone by there on Facebook. And I know how much you were a huge supporter of Bobby. And as soon as I logged on, I'm like, hey, it's that Kyle guy that I know.
I know that jackass.
Yeah. Remember that handsome fella.
Oh boy, you better quit.
Oh boy, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great having you guys on the show, and hopefully I might be able to make it down to Kansas one day.
Anytime. You gotta come down with us, man, in December.
It's easier to drive down than it is up, I promise.
Oh no shit. And in fairness, God bless Bobby. I do have a number of his amazing duck calls here. So
there's one of them that's
beautiful,
pretty old.
Beautiful Punisher one.
Yep. I got Kyle,
I don't even have one of his calls.
Oh, fucking tangled here.
That's awesome. Kyle, last word to you, Kyle, buddy.
Well, no, I appreciate y'all having me on. It's been a pleasure, and yeah, get in the truck, load it up, come south.
Doing it, buddy. I'm doing it. Bobby.
Well, as always, I love talking to you guys. I talk to Damien all the time. I love talking to you guys on here. If anybody needs help with calling, hit up the ducklandertribe.com. There is more videos on there than you could possibly look at in a week on how to call. So, and if you can't figure that out, just shoot me a message and I'll get you all the help you need.
Absolutely. If you're still listening to this, please go check out the new tribe website. Like Bobby said, you're not going to get any shopping done on that one, but you can go back over to ducklandercalls.com. And you can order your calls right there. But go check them out, because honest to God, the guy's got so much to offer you, knowledge wise. So go check them out. Let them know that you heard them on our show, because that makes us feel good. And Kyle, thanks, buddy, for coming on. I can't wait for you guys to launch your first episode. I can't wait to listen to it. And it's weird. I do a podcast, but I'm not a big podcast listener. So I really want to hear, I like what I like, and that's it, right? So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys come up with, and I think it's going to be pretty funny too. I just got this feeling. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are the Union 0430 podcast. Again, not experts, just a bunch of people that love one another's company and talking about shooting birds. Big love, be nice to one another, don't be douchebags, and we'll chat soon. Big love.